Maybe on the side of the majority is where you want to be. Once you really look at it as a whole and say, okay, how did I wind up here? Why am I here? And is this really where I want to be? Is this really what I want to be doing with my life? If you are sitting there overwhelmed, uneasy, doubting yourself, feeling like you are scattered and all over the place, you are probably needing to take that time to reflect and start making some changes.
Do you wish you had control of your days, that you had a rhythm, but instead feel overwhelmed, scattered, and like there's never enough time? You're in the right place. I'm Danielle, a recovering workaholic, wife, and stay-at-home mom of 2 girls. I've learned how to reclaim my time and find purpose and freedom so I can be present with my kids and feel like myself again. Here, we embrace where we are, but we don't stay there. So if you're ready to trade the chaos for clarity, the guilt for grace, and the endless to-do list for aligned flow, grab the kiddos a snack and toss in that laundry because I know you're multitasking, and let's do this because your time, your purpose, and you matter.
Okay, mamas. So today I wanted to just talk to you about our mindset around change, around conforming, around kind of what we were talking about on Tuesday, because I went to my Jazzercise class. I was filling in for someone, and I always start my Jazzercise class with a quote. I always read a quote before we get started, and I had not picked a quote for this day because I wasn't supposed to teach. And so I just grabbed a quote that I had shared on the podcast. And it was this one from Mark Twain that says, "Whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it is time to pause and reflect." And guess what? Usually my Jazzercise class loves my quotes, and they're always like, "Oh, I like that one," or whatever. Well, everyone was grumbling about this one. And they were like, "What? Really? Are you sure?" What is that all about? This is something that actually really resonates with me, because when I find myself on the side of the majority, I do always reflect. This is something that is kind of innate. I don't know where it came from or why I am like this, but I love to play devil's advocate. I love to always look at things from another perspective. I know that there's not ever 2 sides that agree, right? There's always 2 sides to every story. There's always 2, whether it be in politics, in a decision that needs to be made with a large group of people, whether it's going to eat or whether it's something, more poignant and more important. There's usually 2 sides. And when you're on the side of the majority, when it's going to eat or something like that, great. Who cares? You don't need to really pause and reflect. Why are we on the side of the majority? But when you're on the side of the majority and it deals with your life, it deals with, things that affect you and motherhood specifically, when you are sitting there on the side of the majority, we often don't take the time to wonder, why am I here? Am I here on this side of the majority, doing the things that everyone else does, getting caught up in all of the things that the ways of this world, the things that people think that we should do, the way that we should live our life, if we're a stay-at-home mom, all the shoulds that we should be doing, right? This is what I'm talking about when I really think about this quote, because I feel like it's important for us when we recognize that we are just kind of swimming with the stream. I'm not saying it's always the best idea to go against the grain or to swim against the stream, but when you are feeling a little bit uneasy, or when you are unhappy, or when you are wanting more for yourself, these are times when we do not want to just be doing what everyone else is doing because everyone else is doing it, right? If everyone else is, you've heard the old saying, if everyone else was jumping off a cliff, would you? That's what your parents would say. If everyone else jumped off a bridge or a cliff or whatever it is, would you do it too? And the thing is that we need to be thinking for ourselves. We really need to take that time to pause and reflect. And changing, doing something that is different, making a change in your life can sometimes be hard, right? It can sometimes feel really hard. But when you are swimming with that current, when you are on the side of the majority, when you are doing the same thing as the majority of people and you are feeling this restlessness, this uneasiness, or even when you are just trying to make yourself like fit into it, right? When you are like, yes, I believe this is what I should be doing. Like for whatever reason, you agree with the majority of the things that maybe these other moms are doing or whatever group that you're affiliated with. But for some reason, you don't agree with everything, or you are feeling uneasy, or you are starting to doubt certain things, or doubt yourself, or question certain things, right? It's just a time to pause and reflect. Maybe that is where you want to be, right? Maybe on the side of the majority is where you want to be once you really pause and reflect and look at it as a whole and say, okay, how did I wind up here? Why am I here? And is this really where I want to be? Right? Is this really how I want to be spending my time? Is this really what I want to be doing with my life? And if the answer is yes, then great, right? But the answer is no. And I have a feeling that a lot of times, if you are sitting there overwhelmed, uneasy, doubting yourself, caught up in feeling like you are scattered and all over the place and you just feel like a hot mess, then my gut is going to believe that you are probably doing some things that you need to prune out of your life. You are probably needing to take that time to reflect and start making some changes, even if those changes are, removing yourselves. And I'm not saying like if all of your mom friends, this is what everyone's doing, and so you need to remove yourself from those people. I am not saying that. However, I am saying that maybe you need to spend less time with those people or less time doing those things that you think you should do, and more time trying to create your own path or find some other friends to spend some time with or create some activities and do some things that you know would bring yourself joy and your family joy, right? To better spend your time so that you aren't so overwhelmed, so that you do feel more fulfilled. And taking that time to pause and reflect is something that has to come first, right? But then the making the change is something that can sometimes be hard. And when I think these ladies that were hearing my Mark Twain quote were kind of like pushing back, they're like, well, what's wrong with being on the side of the majority? Well, maybe nothing's wrong with being on the side of the majority. However, it could be the side of the majority is just kind of where you've been funneled, if that makes sense. It's kind of where you've just wound up. You didn't necessarily choose to be there. You might have agreed with some of the things or, been on the same Facebook pages or been in the same groups or been, at the same school, preschool, or just happened to be in the same mom's group or something like that and wound up with these people that are doing these things. And you just kind of started doing them, but you never really took the time to figure out if that was what was right for you. Right? And so I feel like sometimes we can get caught up in things that we didn't necessarily intend to get caught up in. And the ways of this world, they are all about staying busy, busy, busy. It's all about, what we're doing. And sometimes we need to just be. Right? We need time to sit there and reflect and think about who we are. And instead of just doing, we need to start being. We need to start being present in our moments. We need to start enjoying life in a different way than just this go, go, go. We might look and things seem great from the outside, right? Like I have talked about this many times, but I was really reminded this the other day when and my dad was telling me about being at Costco and buying these grilled cheese sandwiches. Okay. So my dad went to Costco with my mom, and, they always give out samples at Costco. And so he was all excited to tell me about these grilled cheese sandwiches that he had bought that they were sampling, right? He was like so excited about these grilled cheese sandwiches. And I was like, oh, okay, Dad, like what? And he's like, yeah, they're frozen. They were sampling them. I went back for a sample. I made your mom go for a sample. He had like 4 or 5 of these samples of these grilled cheese sandwiches. And you guys, they are frozen grilled cheese sandwiches that you take and put in, I think, the microwave, right? And you warm them up and then you can eat them. Okay. So my dad is not like he is still working. He's retired mostly. He still has like one thing that he does, and he likes to golf, but it's not really golf season now. And so he really doesn't have like anywhere to be necessarily. Like he volunteers a couple of places and whatever, but like, it's not like he's starved for time, right? So saving time isn't really something that should be like top of his list. And I was like, well, Dad, I said, well, what is the deal with these grilled cheese sandwiches? And sure enough, I don't know if you guys have the Yuka app, but the Yuka app rated these grilled cheese sandwiches as a 0. And the reason was because they had 2 hazardous ingredients in them. And then the amount of sodium that was in these things were just off the charts. So I was like, oh, so these things are probably pretty bad for you. And so I started to think about it. And I'm like, Dad, I was kind of making fun of him, tongue in cheek. I was like, because you're so busy that you don't have time to like get a pan out and make a grilled cheese sandwich yourself, the pieces of bread and whatever, and like the butter, it takes a real long time. And then to wash that pan and everything, it's usually like a 1-pan dish, right? It's a little tiny pan for him to make his own grilled cheese sandwich. Doesn't take that long. And the health repercussions of him eating this grilled cheese sandwich are just not good, right? But he wasn't thinking about that in the moment. It sounded good, right? It looked good. They were giving it to him. They were promoting that it was really good. He ate it. It seemed like it was good. But the health repercussions for that, the long-term effects of eating these grilled cheese sandwiches, like, everything in moderation, right? He doesn't often eat a grilled cheese sandwich. And now he's going to maybe eat them more often. They're really bad for you. It's like, none of this sounded really good for me. And at the end of our conversation, he was like, maybe I'll go home and throw those away. I was like, maybe that's a good idea, right? I thought, that is actually a good idea, because what did he do? He took some time to reflect. He like started to think about it. He's like, yeah, they were selling it to him, right? Sometimes we just get caught up in things because they're what everyone else is doing. We see other moms doing this or that or the other thing, and we start to do that too. Or maybe we've done this in the past and we used to like it. I used to enjoy these things, and we start doing it again. But before long, we are then spending all of our time doing these things that aren't necessarily the right things for us. They're not necessarily bad. Doing them every once in a while isn't bad, but we can get caught, and making that change is something that we can do. It's something that maybe isn't the easiest thing to do all the time, but I want to end with one quote here from Abraham Maslow that says, in any given moment, we have 2 options: to step forward into growth or to step back into safety. To step forward into growth or to step back into safety. And it can feel safe, right? When everyone else is doing something, when you see everyone else doing things, when all of the other moms seem like they're doing this, that, or the other thing. And when you're talking about moving forward in growth or wanting more for yourself or things like this, this can be a scary thing. But when we step back in safety, then it's not easy to move forward into that growth, right? We can step back and stay back and keep doing all of the things that we've been doing that, aren't bringing us this joy that we are longing for. or we can reflect and take some time and decide that we're going to change and move forward and step forward into growth and to where we want to go. And so I just wanted to encourage you today. I had to share that just this resistance that we can sometimes feel to change or to go against the grain. And I just want to be an advocate for you to decide what is best for you, right? To not just conform, but to really take the time, reflect, and step forward. And I would love to help you do that. If you would like help in that area or any area that we talk about, please go to prioritizewithpurpose.com, prioritizewithpurpose.com, sign up for a prioritization clarity call, and I would love to help you there. And I will meet you right back here next week.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode, Mama. If so, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and then hit share and send this to a mom who needs this in her day. I'll meet you right back here next week. Keep smiling, y'all.